and now you can see the entire video here shows up. So that's how you can go ahead and put a video in the background. So I'm going to just go ahead and update this real quick, and I'm going to click preview changes, and you can now take a look, and we can see that our home page has been customized a lot. So we can see that we have everything in the header that we've done. We have the home page looking good, and you can see down here that we've went ahead and put a video in the background as well, and we put in a testimonial. Now obviously this isn't completely filled out, but I'm just trying to show you all of the functionality right now. So at this point, we have essentially went ahead and gone through almost all of the basic functionality that you really need to know when it comes to editing these different templates. So we know how to change colors of buttons, and just to give you an example of what you'd be doing now to fill out everything else, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and click on this, and I'm just going to take this hex code right here, and you would just go through and match different things. So you click on this button, we change the color of that to the same color. We click on this button, we would change the color to the same color, and just little things like that. And we could go ahead and make this the same button as the other one, so it could be, let's say, free consultation again. And just like before, you can put the link to whatever page you want. So as you can see, all of the editing, no matter what section you're editing, it's always the same functionality. So at this point, it's essentially just what type of things do you want to add into your website. So I think at this point, you probably know you're pretty comfortable with working with the functionality. I mean, we've changed backgrounds, we've put in different widgets, we've edited parts of different widgets, we've went ahead and changed background colors, we've put in background videos, and you can go ahead and edit out different sections of these widgets too if you want. So let's say you maybe only want 2 services here instead of 3, you can literally just go in and delete one, and we can put something else here. There's a lot of different things that you can do. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and move on. So now that we've went ahead and went through all of the functionality, we're going to go ahead and move on. So now I'm going to show you how we can mess with the footer. So I'm going to click on these 3 lines here, and I'm going to click exit dashboard and leave, since this was already updated. Go ahead and X this out. And depending on the theme here, I'm going to go back to visit site. Now, depending on the site that you install over, your footer is going to be a little different. Sometimes you can edit the footer from here when you hit customize, and you can come down to the same place we want to edit the header, so layout and then footer. But you'll notice here that this footer, this text doesn't match what's right here. So sometimes some of the sites you import, the footer will be editable through here, just like the header. And then some sites you import, the footer will actually be editable through Elementor, which is what I'm going to show you right now. So now if we go over here to edit with Elementor, and then we go to footer, and we can see that this footer is actually something you edit separately on its own. So you can see that this specific site that we imported comes with a pretty advanced footer right here, and it's essentially a email newsletter. So the footer, if you don't know, is just like the header, where it's going to be the same on every page. So just to show you a quick example, let's say I'm going to right click on about, and I'm going to open this in a new tab and just show you right here that we can see that this page obviously hasn't been edited, but the header is still here, and so is our menu. So that's universal. So you edit the header once and it's the same across the entire site. And you can see this hasn't been touched, but you can see that this is the footer, and it can be the same across the entire site as well. So the header and footer are unique in that aspect, where you just edit them once and you're fine. versus the rest of this stuff you have to actually go in for each page and go ahead and edit them. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and edit this footer itself. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna just, in this example, I'm gonna get rid of a lot of this stuff because I don't really like footers to be this big. So I'm gonna just right click and delete this. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete that and that. And now you can see our footer is already shrunk a little bit. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just click on edit section real quick, and I'm gonna come down to height, and I'm gonna put minimum height, and then I'm gonna drag this and make it as small as possible. And then I'm going to come back to here, and we can edit this text just like you would before. So the copyright text, you can just put in like your company name, change the date, and then with the social media icons, we can click on these, and you can see if you have like an Instagram, you put your company Instagram here. And if you don't have like a Google Plus, you can just get rid of it. So you can get rid of the ones you don't have, and you can add the ones you do have in here. And then what I can do is put something else over here. So obviously, just like sticking with the theme in the entire video, you can obviously put in whatever you want. But in this case, I would put in something like a Google Maps if this was like an agency. So I could drag over the Google Maps icon and put it right here. And what you can do is you can just put your address of, you know, the company address. So let's say in this case, I just did like Chicago, Illinois. And that will go ahead and load. And obviously you would put your actual exact business address, but I'm not going to be putting any addresses on here. So we can go ahead and do that, and then you can see that that looks really good. And the Google Map widget is something that, you know, looks really good for any type of like client type of agency, any type of marketing agency. It's something that adds a lot of trust and stuff. So depending on what type of site you're making, you can change the widget. In this case, I'll keep the Google Map. And this is a little blank, so I don't really like that, but it is just a spacer. So what I could do is I could go ahead and delete it. And like I said, you can go ahead and edit this footer to your liking. You can add in whatever you want. Like maybe you want to put some sort of like button in here, which is optional. You could definitely put in a call to action button. You can put in any of these things that you want, but I'm gonna just keep it like this for now. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna update it, and I'm gonna show you how this updates across your site. So first we're gonna look at the home page, and you can see we have the same home page as before, and we scroll down here and you can see now our footer is updated. And if we come over here to the about page, so like I was saying earlier, when you edit the footer once, it changes across your entire site, so you only have to do the footer once. So now that we've done the footer, we've pretty much done everything we need to do. So at this point now, I'm just going to show you how you can edit the other pages. So we're going to go ahead and go here, and we're going to go back to our dashboard. And then I'm going to go back to visit site. And all you have to do to edit a different page is we can just click on a different one. So like about, we can click about, and then we can just click edit with Elementor, and it'll open it up. And then we just do literally the same exact thing that we did on the home page except here. So I could put a picture of myself, and then, you know, put a little description right here about, you know, like, this is my story and why I started the company. And then you can, you know, scroll down and, you know, type more about yourself, or let's say you don't want this section, you can just delete it, and, you know, so on and so forth. So it's literally the same exact thing you do on the home page. At this point, it's essentially just about what do you want your site to look like, and, you know, putting in the details. It's essentially just filling in the blanks at this point. And like we've already covered, you already know how to do all of the functionality within Elementor at this point. So every one of these pages is going to be the same. So now I'm going to show you a little something different. So now let's say there's pages you don't want. So let's say there's a books page right here and you don't want that. So let's say you don't have any books. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit the dashboard. And I'm going to go over to pages. And let's say you don't have any books, so you don't want it. So, it's just going to be just like we did in the beginning of the video. Just going to click on it, move the trash, apply, and that's going to get rid of the page right there. And we can go ahead and open it up, and you can see that it's also disappeared from the navigation. Now, let's say we want to change the title of the page, for example. I'm going to show you how to do that now. So, like work with me, for example, if this is a marketing agency, I'd probably want to change that to like services. So while we're over here in pages, I would find the work with me page, and I'm going to click quick edit. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to edit the title, and it's going to allow me to edit the URL. So we went over the URL permalinks earlier. So if I click on work with me, you can see that this will go ahead and be casuallycommerce.net/work with me. So if I change the title of the page to, let's say, services, and I want this page to show all of the services that my agency goes ahead and offers, then what I want to go ahead and do is I don't want to keep the URL as work with me. I want to change that to services as well. So what I would do is change this to services, because we want to keep our URLs consistent with the titles of the page. And I'll just click update. And then if I go ahead and refresh this, you can see it's going to take us to the same URL, which doesn't exist anymore. But now we can click on services, which does exist. So you can see it's the same page, but it's a different